A lot of people, probably even watching tonight, don't realise that a lot of royal journalists are also in that WhatsApp group, and also a lot of royal journalists, for some reason, hide the fact that they have any, direct notification from Harry and Meghan's team. They won't admit it because they're too scared of the backlash, I suppose. But it's interesting that you just came out and were truthful. That did impress me a lot. I wanted to get into Meghan in Paris, legs up in the limo, and the lights of Paris gliding by. And I saw your article you did in the Daily Beast, and I've got a quote. And this quote I quite agree with. What once looked like a clean break between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal world now feels blurred. Now, I'll accept that because Europe, Paris is a lot closer than Melodramacito, so I'll accept that one. But this one nearly sent me into apoplexy. Meghan remains every inch a duchess. Her title still confers an extra sheen that makes her a serious media figure. I would argue that the only sheen she had was what Daniel gave her, the highlight on her face. I seek to understand you, Tom. Explain that. Explain that quote.
I think that what I'm trying to say is that she still attracts attention because of her title. And of course, there is like an incredible irony that, people who've spent 5 years literally slamming the royal family at every opportunity, saying how awful they are, accusing them of being racist, accusing the whole institution of being outmoded, of being colonial, of being prejudiced, of being racist, are still using these titles. But the reality is that the Duchess title does give her an extra sheen to people who don't know, right? So you and I and the people watching this, we're like the 1% of people who know the story, right? Or the 2% of people who know the story, yeah, who understand that she's not allowed to use the HRH, but she does, who understand that she's been allowed to keep the title, but, lots of people aren't very happy about it, who understand that she strong-armed her kids to be called prince and princess when the palace didn't really want it, right? We understand the nuances, the differences between a working royal and a non-working royal. The point is, right, that Meghan's audience is the rest of the 5 billion people on the planet who are on Facebook, who have no idea. And my point is that to the whole rest of the world, the people who aren't invested in the royal story, being a duchess is something, right? It is something. Being an HRH, even if you're not entitled to use it, they don't know the difference. And it's like the same thing when Prince Andrew appears on the steps of the church with the king. The rest of the world, we understand that Andrew is a member of the family, but not a member of the working royal. But the other 98% of the people on digital social media, which is how all this stuff is being consumed, have absolutely no idea about that. And what that means is that she is still a massive focus of media attention when she does events. And she's still by far the biggest driver of traffic on the internet in terms of a name. If you want to write a story and you want people to read it and it's got Meghan in it and it's about Meghan and about Meghan doing something, it will drive a lot of traffic. There's just no denying that.
It's fascinating how some people can leave a palace but never leave the public's imagination. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, is one of those rare figures whose presence continues to command attention around the world. Recently, a journalist admitted something quite unusual, that Meghan and Harry's team personally notified him about an event involving Balenciaga in Paris. And what's remarkable isn't just that honesty, but what it reveals, that Meghan Markle remains an active, relevant and strategic figure in the media landscape, even without being a working royal. Because, truthfully, Meghan doesn't need a crown to shine. She's built her own. After years of navigating a tense relationship with the British press, Meghan and Harry have reshaped how they communicate, and they've done it their way. They recently appointed a new head of communications, California-based Meredith Maines, to lead their modern strategy. And what's smart about it? They've adapted royal-style press coordination to fit the 21st century. Instead of depending on outdated press lists, they created WhatsApp groups for journalists, fast, direct, and effective. While some royal reporters hesitate to admit they're part of it, the truth is simple. Meghan and Harry are still setting the tone for how royals communicate in the digital age. It's not just savvy, it's revolutionary. Now let's talk about that Paris moment. Meghan gliding through the city of lights, poised, elegant and radiant. The world took notice. Captured in the soft glow of Parisian night, she looked every inch the global icon she's become. And journalists couldn't help but say that Meghan remains every inch a duchess. That's the thing about her, even away from the royal machine. She embodies class and grace effortlessly. Her title might be ceremonial, but her influence is absolutely real. Let's be honest, Meghan is still one of the biggest names in the world. Her projects, appearances, and even casual outings dominate global headlines. And it's not because she's chasing attention, it's because she commands it. When Meghan speaks, people listen. When she launches a brand, it sells out. When she appears at an event, she trends worldwide. She's proof that substance and style can coexist, and that stepping away from the palace didn't end her influence. It expanded it. By blending palace-style professionalism with California creativity, Meghan's team has crafted a media approach that feels fresh, fast, and transparent. Some royal reporters even admitted that Meghan's team still keeps them in the loop, something most won't acknowledge publicly. Why? Because it challenges the old narrative, the one that paints Meghan as distant or difficult. In truth, she's simply selective. She values clarity over chaos and authenticity over noise. That's a power move, one that many public figures could learn from. Critics love to roll their eyes when people refer to her as the Duchess of Sussex. But here's the thing, that title isn't what gives her influence. She's the one giving it meaning. To millions across the globe, Meghan Markle represents resilience, independence, and reinvention. People may debate her royal status, but her impact reaches far beyond palace walls. The truth is, to most of the world, she's still the Duchess who broke barriers, stood up to tradition, and built something real from the ashes of media frenzy. And that's why, even years later, her name continues to make headlines. From Europe to Africa to the Americas, Meghan's message resonates. She's a woman of colour who entered one of the most traditional institutions in the world and emerged stronger, more self-aware and more independent. Her journey represents possibility, that you can stay graceful under pressure, that you can walk away from toxic environments and still thrive. That's why her global fan base hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, it's grown. Meghan's story isn't one of exile, it's one of evolution. So when people say Meghan's no longer relevant because she isn't a working royal, we can only laugh softly. Because the truth is, few women have shaped modern culture the way she has. She doesn't just attend events, she redefines moments. She doesn't just wear clothes, she starts conversations. And she doesn't just bear a title, she transforms what it means. Meghan Markle remains, in every sense, a duchess, not by royal decree, but by how she carries herself through grace, intelligence, and authenticity. And that's the story for today. This is Sussex Unfiltered, where we tell the real stories behind the headlines, and celebrate the courage of those who refuse to be defined by the crown. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and remember, true royalty comes from the heart.